Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the ways, land of hope and glory. In an English country, got 3 lines on the shirt, and was Jerusalem builded here in England's green and pleasant Vindaloo, Vindaloo, God save our... SummerSlam 1992 took place in England. I'm Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 fascinating facts about SummerSlam 92. Number 10, the show was originally to take place in America. Oh, cheers, bastards. Really, though, you can't think of SummerSlam 1992 without seeing that vast sea of humanity surrounding the ring, can you? But yes, the London location was not made official until the end of May 1992. Before deciding to fly the crew overseas at the end of August, the original location was to have been Landover, Maryland, a suburb just outside of Washington, D.C. WWE had run for years at Landover's Capitol Center, would hold a 1995 Survivor Series in that building. Business, however, was mightily down in the United States thanks to a litany of factors, steroid scandals, the wrestling fad dying, etc., whereas European tours were doing booming business. As the calendar turned to June, Vince McMahon shifted plans designed to roll with London, and what a good idea. God save our... Number 9, tickets went insanely fast. In the more porn-prevalent digital age, acquiring tickets for sporting events and concerts the minute they go on sale has been made rather easy. Back in 92, things weren't that simple, but that didn't stop SummerSlam from packing out Wembley Stadium in record time. Early reports were that more than 80,000 tickets had been sold in the first 6 hours of the sale, which would be downright insane, and actually is not true. They lied a bit. 5 days after tickets first went on sale, it's believed that 60,000 to 65,000 tickets were sold, which is still damn impressive. WWE did try to claim, though, that all tickets were sold on the first day, you wacky liars. But still, that's nothing to be ashamed of. A reported 80,355 attended the event. Some sources claim 75,000 people paid, and the company grossed $2.7 million. You are welcome. Number 8, the US and UK broadcasts aired different matches. Because of the 5-hour time difference between the UK and East Coast United States, WWE made the decision to hold the pay-per-view on a Saturday night in London and then air it on tape delay in the States 2 nights later in its traditional Monday time slot. Not Sunday, I know, mental. There was little worry that the 8 people who had internet in those days would spoil the show for everyone. In all, 11 matches took place at Wembley, and only 8 of them were shown on American pay-per-view. The 3 omitted matches were Papa Shango versus Tito Santana, Tatanka versus the Berserker, and a 6-man tag pitting Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers against the Mountie and the Nasty Boys. All 3 matches would air on episodes of Primetime Wrestling in the month of September. Additionally, for unclear reasons, the UK version did not air the Crush vs Repo Man match, depriving fans east of the Atlantic from seeing the battle between former Demolition teammates. No one knows why. Do we not get what repoing is in the UK? I don't know. Number 7, the Texas Tornado was supposed to face Papa Shango. This is a sad entry. By 1992, Kerry Von Erich's personal demons had him firmly pointed towards oblivion. In February, the Dallas area icon was arrested for attempting to forge painkiller prescriptions, and the Texas Tornado vanished from the circuit for the time being, resurfacing after WrestleMania 8. Plans were for Von Erich to wrestle Voodoo Man Papa Shango at SummerSlam, with the Texas Tornado having filmed a promo to hype up that match. However, he would disappear from WWE cards in July again. After putting over Kamala on a number of house shows, Von Erich was officially released from WWE in August 92. Less than 6 months later, he was arrested on charges of cocaine possession. After being indicted on those charges 1 month later, facing both revocation of his probation and likely jail time, Von Erich ended his life with a gunshot to the heart at only 33. Number 6, it was the last LOD match for over 3 years. The Legion of Doom won the opening match of the US version of SummerSlam 92, defeating Money Inc. in a solid bout. This was in spite of the fact that Animal remembers Hawk openly popping sedatives in front of many of their locker room peers, becoming so sluggish he could barely wrestle or ride a motorcycle, which he, had to do both of those things. Animal revealed years later that Hawk had taken a drug test before flying over to England and was anticipating a failure. Animal didn't know this at the time of the match, but was more than aware of his partner's troubles with keeping clean, and recalls that McMahon wasn't happy with Hawk's obvious lethargy. Hawk allegedly skipped out on the flight back to the US and began hanging around in London with the London chapter of the Hells Angels biker gang. Oh, Jesus Christ. At the TV tapings days later, Animal was told that Hawk had quit the promotion. It was the last time they would team up until reuniting WCW in early 96. Number 5, Nails would confront Vince about his SummerSlam pay. Nails, the rather frightening heavyweight that sounded like he'd swallowed a hive of 20 a day smoking bees. The convict gimmick was designed as a natural foil for prison guard Big Boss Man, but would work SummerSlam 1992 in a virtual squash victory over Virgil. More than 3 months later, at December Superstars tapings in Green Bay, Nails cornered McMahon in his office office and is alleged to have screamed at him over his SummerSlam pay, feeling it was too low. Sources have it listed at $8,000 or $9,000. Bret Hart remembers hearing a loud crash from the office, apparently caused by Nails knocking Vince McMahon out of his chair before snaring him in a chokehold. A host of officials quickly broke up the altercation and Nails was obs fired. Shortly after, Nails apparently called the police and claimed that Vince had made a sexual pass at him to explain why he assaulted his now former boss. Oh my god. Number 4, HBK was supposed to win the IC belt. Bret Hart figured he would be dropping the Intercontinental title belt at SummerSlam, and it seemed like young, tiny, flopsy Shawn Michaels would be the guy to take it off him. When word got out that SummerSlam was going to take place in London instead of Landover, Hart pitched the idea of putting over the British Bulldog in his home country instead. Michaels would get the belt eventually, from British Bulldog in fact, but putting over Davey Boy in his homeland was too delicious for Vince to pass up. Had SummerSlam taken place in the US, Hart would likely have dropped the strap to Michaels in a ladder match. In fact, the ladder match that Hart and Michaels ended up having in July 92, the first official ladder match, never mind the whole Razor and Shawn thing, that was never really meant to air, but was supposed to serve as a demonstration to McMahon of what a ladder match could be. Number 3, WWE wanted Warrior to turn heel. The Randy Savage Ultimate Warrior WWE Championship match at SummerSlam 1992 was a more than good enough sequel to their WrestleMania 7 match, lacking only a concrete finish. Savage was counted out following a run-in from Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect, ending a tremendous match without a clear victor. The storyline for that match saw Mr. Perfect claiming he was in the corner of one of Savage or Warrior, but wouldn't say who. This bred paranoia in both babyfaces, the idea that the other one was on the take. In fact, WWE was planning on turning Warrior heel, with Perfect's involvement steering the face-painted heavyweight in that direction. However, Warrior turned the idea down flat and remained a babyface until his firing that November. Number 2, Bret came up with a sharpshooter spot at an interesting time. You never know where inspiration might strike. With the match against Davey Boy Smith at SummerSlam looming large, the Hitman was determined to help put together the best match of either man's career. One of the most memorable spots of the match followed a double knockout spot. With both men lying prone, Hart managed to maneuver his leg up and over his brother-in-law, wrapping Bulldog's legs around his before flipping over and standing up, the sharpshooter firmly applied. Hart claimed he came up with that spot in bed at 3 a.m. in the morning and had actually woken up then-wife Julie to try it out on her. The fact that Bret managed to talk his groggy wife into getting out of bed, lying on the floor and participating in his impromptu beta testing, that takes love. And number 1, Bret carried Bulldog throughout the match. The Bret Hart-Davey Boy Smith Intercontinental title match at Wembley Stadium is often regarded as the greatest match in SummerSlam history, and for good reason. The bout was nearly 30 minutes of world-class wrestling, rife with nifty counters and vibrant high spots, not to mention the well-crafted undercurrent of drama. What makes the match all the more impressive is that Hart had to do most of the heavy lifting. For much of the summer, Hart claimed he would reach out to his brother-in-law to plot the biggest match of either man's life, but Smith would not return his calls. The Hitman didn't cross paths with Smith until the night before the pay-per-view. It was there that Smith admitted he had spent weeks smoking crack with fellow Hart in-law Jim Neidhart. Oh, what a pay-per-view. Hart sat down with the apprehensive Bulldog and crafted the match, but shortly after the bell rang on Saturday night, Bulldog admitted he'd forgotten the entire plan. Shouldering the load, Hart called every spot the rest of the way, hand-holding Smith to what ended up being a true masterpiece. The match's greatness is a monument to Hart's incredible skill as a wrestler, as well as his grace under pressure. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Plumpy from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.